Hi, good morning. Chris Albanese, Director of Education, Real Estate Academy of Orlando, back with another math tip here. Today we're solving a problem regarding the total obligations ratio and how do we solve that. So we've got a math problem. A prospective borrower has an estimated monthly housing expense of $495 and her monthly obligations total $723. If the borrower's monthly gross income is $2125, what is the total obligations ratio? Now, when we look at a question like this, we always want to look at what information do we not need? Is everything necessary, or is there anything that is there just to trick us? Now, oftentimes when we see a problem like this, they'll tell us what the housing expenses are, and then they'll tell us what the total obligations are. Now, one thing we want to take into consideration is that the housing expenses are part of the total obligations. So one common mistake I see from a lot of students is they're going to take these two numbers and they're going to add them together. That is not correct because the total obligations already includes those housing expenses. So that's just the first tip there. So make sure you don't fall for that one. The second thing is, let's take a look at what exactly is included in the total obligations. Now, our total obligations here is this whole piece of the pie. So we've got our housing expenses. Now, this is always going to be principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. At a minimum, that's always included as your housing expenses. But what we'll many times have is MIP, mortgage insurance premium. This is if it's an FHA loan, or PMI, private mortgage insurance, perhaps if it's a conventional loan and the borrower's maybe not putting a full 20% down. Also, if the property is a condo, there could be common charges there. Co-ops would have maintenance charges, and HOAs would have HOA dues. So any of those additional payments that are required as part of the housing, that would also be, included in the housing expense. Now, on top of the housing expenses, we also add in the long-term obligations. The lenders will call this the LTO. Now, the LTO is what we're going to find on your credit report. So these are things like car payments, credit card payments, student loans, child support. So anything that's a long-term obligation that's you paid over time that's going to show up in your credit report would be part of this. Now, some items that a lot of people think is going to be part of this underwriting process that the banks use just aren't. If it's not in your credit report, it's typically not counted. Those would be things like your cell phone bill or your cable bill, things like that. It's not going to show up in your credit report, so it's not a long-term obligation. So now we've got that. Let's go back to the math problem itself. So we've got the total obligations ratio. Now, this is going to be figured out by taking total obligations here. Now, this is, like we said before, this is our PITI payment. So PITI plus our long-term obligations, everything on the credit report, and perhaps mortgage insurance premium if there is one, or HOA or condo charges. And then divide that number by the gross monthly income. This is a before tax dollars. So gross monthly income in this case is $2125. They give that to us. So we know the total obligations here is $723. So we can take 723 divided by 2125, and we get a number here, 723 divided by 2125, and we get 0.34, or 34%. So our total obligations ratio for this prospective borrower is going to be 34%. I hope that gives a little bit more clarity to this type of question. If you have any other questions, please let us know. You can reach out to us at info@reaorlando.com or visit us on the web at realestateacademyoforlando.com. Thanks again.